When she told me she was taking a break from our marriage to travel to Tokyo, something in me shifted, though I didn't let it show. I nodded, offered a polite smile that never reached my eyes, and watched as her excitement poured through the apartment like sunlight spilling across the floor. She had been dreaming of this trip for months, every shrine, every sushi bar, every neon-lit street planned in meticulous detail, as if this journey could somehow dissolve the quiet strain that had been building between us. As she packed, I felt a strange blend of admiration and unease. I remembered how we used to talk about exploring the world together, building a life full of shared adventures and mutual wonder. Yet there I was, staying behind, in an apartment that suddenly felt unfamiliar, emptier than any foreign city could ever feel. I didn't despair. I didn't argue. Instead, I did what I always did when left alone. I observed, thought, and let the silence do its work. The quiet she left behind spoke louder than any confrontation. It wasn't heavy, it was revealing. It told the truth neither of us had dared to say aloud, that while she chased new experiences, I existed in steadiness, in patience, in presence, in stillness. Days blurred into long hours of solitude, and reflection became impossible to avoid. I revisited small memories, moments she had dismissed or forgotten. The dinners missed, the messages unanswered, the laughter she shared somewhere else. Each recollection brought a sharper understanding. She had been slowly stepping out of the life we once imagined together, while I stayed anchored in it, waiting. By the time she returned from Tokyo, I was no longer the same man. The apartment hadn't changed, but the atmosphere had. I had moved through those days not in bitterness but in clarity, learning where my boundaries began. She arrived glowing from her travels, suitcase in hand, unaware that I had grown in her absence, not in distance, but in self-awareness. Her smile faltered when she saw me. I wasn't waiting with the old eagerness. I hadn't left notes or sent messages. I hadn't begged for attention. She looked at me and saw, for the first time, someone who no longer revolved around her choices. She expected warmth or regret, but found composure instead. I greeted her with calm civility, asked briefly about her trip, and let the quiet between us speak for itself. She filled it with stories, temples, markets, endless city lights. Each tale a hopeful attempt to recapture the place she once held in my world. But I had already learned something vital in her absence. Silence can be more honest than love spoken too late. For weeks, I didn't lean in. I listened, yes, but without the enthusiasm she expected. The air between us carried a quiet tension, not born of conflict, but of balance reclaimed. Slowly, she began to notice the empty spaces she'd once overlooked. The laundry already folded, the books I'd finished, the calm rhythm of my days untouched by her absence. There was nothing dramatic in it. No confrontation, no noise. But it was enough to make her see that my life hadn't paused when hers did. By evening, she began to understand that the world she'd imagined waiting for her had kept turning, and I had kept moving with it. There was no anger in me, only a steady calm that reflected a truth she had long avoided. I was done waiting for permission to live fully. The apartment looked the same, yet it felt different because I no longer bent myself around someone else's moods. She searched my face for hurt, for disappointment, for the quiet dependency she had once relied on, but found none. My stillness spoke louder than any explanation could. Her stories of Tokyo drifted into the background, their brilliance dimmed beside the steady continuity of my own life. In that silence, she recognized the weight of her absence. While she had been chasing memories across oceans, I had been shaping my own stronger, clearer, and untouched by distance. Later, her apologies came, fragmented, uncertain, laced with guilt. I listened, nodded, but didn't fill the silence for her. She began to see what she had lost, not me, but the certainty that I'd be waiting. Life doesn't pause for anyone. She learned that too late. I stayed composed, unmoved by the emotional turbulence she had expected. My world had kept growing, steadier, fuller, self-contained. The truth stood quietly between us. When someone chooses to stop, you don't freeze beside them. You keep moving. You evolve. You live fully, silently, until they realize that some absences can never be returned to, and some lives, once reclaimed, don't wait to be resumed.